Hey everybody. So I wanted to follow up with you guys about a video I did a few days ago about the Chicago house party. I told you guys, if, of course, I'm sure you've heard about it because it's been all over social media, all over the news about a party, a West Side party, a Chicago West Side party that took place last weekend in which there was supposedly over 1,000 people in the house. I want to go ahead and remind you by showing you this little snippet of the party. Take a look.
At home? I think he finna come though. You say there's people in there. Oh well, that's on them. Hey. I know, I synced it. That's why ain't nobody on my shit, everybody on his shit.
So I'm from the west side of Chicago, and I know that TMZ was straight up bullshit when they said 1,000 people attended this house party. Ain't no house on the west side of Chicago holding 1,000 people. All right. But anyway, when this went viral and everything, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, she started fussing, and they end up citing the homeowner, who turns out to be a first responder. She said that she had no idea that the party was going on and that she had been away from her home, and that her 26-year-old son actually was the one who threw the party. Okay. She said she had been staying away from the house just to kind of protect her family, and her son threw the party, and he's the one that technically was responsible for it. And she had no idea, because she said that when she got home, the house was all cleaned up, and she wouldn't have known that the party was thrown until, of course, the police showed up at her house and said, hey, do you know that there's a party at your house? And they showed her the videos and all this other stuff, and she said she was shocked. Anyway, I want to go ahead and show you this snippet of a video of her son. And he did this interview with State Representative LaShawn K. Ford, and he talked a little bit about the house party itself, okay? So I want to go ahead and show you this video, and we're going to talk about it.
House? How could you afford that house?
Oh, man. It's all in the works, man. You know,
no, I mean, how could you that's your house?
Yes.
That you own that house?
Yes.
Huh?
Somebody.
Okay, so that's your house, and that's your just what you have been able to do, put that together, and bam, there it is. And you had a party there.
Yeah.
And there it is. So you, for the most part, are responsible for bringing a bunch of what you call teenagers or millennials together and violating what you call the stay-at-home order. And I have to tell you, we're going to talk about it, but I have to say, when I first met you today, what was alarming, when I came up to you, the first thing you wanted to do was shake my hand, and we don't shake hands anymore. So I didn't have on a mask. I had to give you a mask, and I told you we can't shake hands anymore. And so tell me now, what do you have to say?
I mean, I've been totally oblivious to the stay-at-home methods and everything. I really hadn't known anything about it. You know, I kind of looked at it, it was like it's like, you know, like a scam or something like that. Like it really wasn't real. But now I see how serious it is now. I definitely do.
Very serious. So do you don't watch the news like most people, adults, right?
Right. Most of us young people, we really don't watch the news, you know, because it's a lot of killing, you know, talking about, you know, people of color, you know, getting killed. That's basically every time you turn on TV. So it's just like, you know, it's kind of like a bittersweet type of thing with the news. But we have to really start, you know, getting over that. And that's a tough pill to swallow, but we have to, you know, roll with the punches and start watching the news and start, you know, informing ourselves.
Yeah, you know, I feel like you made a bonehead decision to have a party during the state stay-at-home order. Do you know what an executive order is? by the governor that says that there's a stay-at-home order and that you have to practice social distancing? What does that mean to you? Before, not today. What did it mean before? Or
before it really didn't mean anything though. Like, cause I didn't get how social distancing was at first. Didn't practice it. Didn't really didn't look into it or anything like that. But that's all changed now. I definitely know everything. I brushed up on it. I did the knowledge to it. I know everything about it.
Yeah, and if you knew better, would you have done that?
Of course
you would have.
I would have done better.
So if you knew better, if you knew about the stay-at-home order, and if you knew that we should not have social gatherings anymore, would you have thrown a party?
I wouldn't have thrown it. No, I wouldn't.
I don't think you would have either, and I think that that's key for people to know that you do have sense and that you did not intend to put anyone at risk. And had you known better, you would have done better.
Of course.
What about testing? What's your mission now for all the people that were at the party?
My mission now on that is I encourage all my peers and everybody that was at that party, all my friends and my loved ones, everybody go get tested. It's serious. We can't play around with this, you all. We have to really get in. We have to really get into getting tested for it. We're losing a lot of lives and a lot of other people too. My heart goes out to everybody though. So
here's a question for you. I need his organization skills. Hey, you got skills. Thank you for they want to know, how did you throw a party? But that's a compliment to you, Mr. Wright. You got to use those skills and be the strongest millennial out.
I'm definitely planning on doing it, Definitely I'm planning on being the strongest.
Okay, you're going to be strong. I appreciate that. And look, they're giving you love. They said personal accountability is an important step. You want to answer her?
What was that? He said one more time?
He just said personal responsibility, Ms. Hand said, is a great step.
Yeah.
Look,
yeah. They say we need the skills. Thank you, man. Thank you all.
And we got more comments for you. They said some people won't be happy with you, but you know what? That's all right. Someone else say, oh, yeah, we need his skills to influence voters between 18 and 25. That's great.
Oh, yeah, we definitely need to make a difference in that, in the polls.
I got to tell you another thing that I find to be, I find it to be very, what you call, I don't want to give you guys credit because you guys messed up, but you didn't know ignorance is something.
So there you have it. You heard the young man's explanation. Apparently he didn't know. And it's kind of funny to me how he's talking now, because I've seen him all over social media and he's sounding like Carlton Banks right now, but he was just Chief Keef last Saturday, and all of a sudden he Carlton Banks. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Now, what's also kind of interesting to me is that he said he kind of hesitated, but when the state representative Ford asked him about the house, he said he owns it. It's in his name, so to speak. The house actually belongs to his mother, who is a first responder. Okay, now this is something to keep in mind. She was cited for having the party at her house. She said she didn't know. She was on a 24-hour call. She was on a 24-hour shift. She had also said that she was away from the house. She had been staying away from the house because she's a first responder and she didn't want to get her family sick. And apparently he threw this party. She didn't even know that the party took place because by the time she got home, the house was clean. It looked like nothing had happened until the police came to her house and said, hey, did you know that there was a party thrown in your house? And they had cited her. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, well, hell, he should be the one paying for the citation. Okay. It's also interesting to me that he said, well, he didn't even know. Like, he didn't know that all this was going on, as if we just all walking around, with masks on our faces for no apparent reason. Like, we just all walking around with masks. He has no idea. He has no clue, and things like that. So I just thought that was kind of funny. But it ain't no laughing matter what has come out now. Now, I told you that his mother was a first responder. As it turns out, no. Okay, let me stop for a second. later, this is about a 30-minute interview, which I wasn't going to post, but it came out that he was like, so the representative said, hey, so what you doing? What do you work? Blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh, I'm filling out an application for the Chicago Fire Department. Now, you own a house, but you filling out an application. Okay. But as it turns out, his mother is actually a commander with the Chicago Fire Department. So when they said first responder, a lot of us was thinking maybe she was a paramedic, maybe a nurse, blah, 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 blah. She's a commander in the Chicago Fire Department. Okay. Now she is being investigated with something that's not necessarily related to the house party, but now because the spotlight is on her and her son, she's now being investigated for one of those damn don't rush challenge. The don't rush challenge that they've been doing on TikTok where the person they look like all regular, basic, and then they get all nice looking and stuff like that. Her and other women in her fire department, in the fire department, are now being investigated for the Don't Rush Challenge, which probably would have gone unnoticed. Now they're seeing if they had in some way violated the city's policy for doing anything like that. So he has just made a mess for his mother. Me personally, his grown ass should be the one on the hook for throwing this party. And I stand by that. Okay. I don't, when I first heard the story yesterday, I'm like, well, his mom shouldn't be to blame if she didn't know and she was away from the house. He's sitting here saying it's his house. It's come out that it's not his house at all. It's actually it's a nice house over in the Galewood community. If you are from Chicago, you know where Galewood is, but it's just kind of funny that he said it's his house. It's in his name, but he ain't got no job. So I don't know. It's just kind of interesting, but I'm sure his mama do real well. If she's a commander in the fire department, she does pretty well for herself. He out here throwing a party over some homies he lost 2 years ago. That's another interesting thing. They throwing a party for to, I guess, celebrate the life of a couple of their friends that died 2 years ago. He said that it started off about 30 people and then it swelled to 200. Well, you know how parties go. But, I just I don't buy the whole thing that he just didn't know. Like he didn't know that a damn pandemic was going on. I like the fact that he was at least honest and said, well, they didn't care, that they just didn't really care. They didn't take it serious. I'll take that excuse over saying that I didn't know. Damn it, you saw these folks walking around with masks. What you thought we was playing cops and robbers? So no, I'm not going to take that excuse, but I hate the fact that his mom may very well get in trouble because of some stupid shit that he decided to do at her home. All right. So I just wanted to follow up with this story. And I feel bad for the mom. If everything is true the way it said, I feel bad that, that this is happening because it's about to cause her more trouble than it's worth. Bad enough he threw a party, but now, hell, it might cost her even more. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys and follow up with this story. And does that change anything about how you feel about the whole story? Or do you definitely think that he needs to bear the responsibility and pay the fines? I think he definitely should pay the fines and pay the price for that. I do.